I did a lot of traveling for my job. You've heard me talk about that many, many times. And while I didn't go any extravagant places, I think going to different parts of the country really, really helped me with my perspective. And I got to meet people from different parts of the country. I got to see how they responded to people of different skin types and skin colors. It gave me so much perspective.
I had a client I was on with earlier today who traveled to 13 countries over the last 6 months. And we talked about her mental map and what she learned about herself, others, and the world so that she can reinvest all of that learning into her future.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2071, how your perspective creates your reality. Last year, Taryn and I went to Scotland for 2 weeks. And when we came home, everybody was like, how was it? Tell me all about it. I can't really give you any specific details. I mean, I can, but I felt very different after we came back because it was like going to a different world in a lot of ways. We went, we were in the city for some of the time, but we went like hours out into the middle of nowhere and there were sheep crossing the road. And it was just a really, really, really cool experience. And I feel like it gave me a lot of perspective of what's possible. It gave me a lot of perspective of how life looks in different places. It gave me a lot of perspective of people. And I think that's why traveling is such a unique thing. Maybe it's not about where you stay or what you do when you're there or whatever, the sights that you see, the pictures that you get. But I feel like there's so much perspective that comes from traveling because you are quite literally seeing differences in real time. So to your point about your client, I have not gone to 13 countries in 6 months. That's a whole nother level. But I can only imagine the amount of perspective and the amount of context that person has from those travels.
Well, I heard a quote by Jim Rohn way back. He's a personal development speaker, and he said, some people are just trying to get through the day. Other people are trying to get from the day. And we have this thing called an experience review at the end of our peak performance tracking system. If anyone wants a peak performance tracker, please reach out to me. You can email me. My email will be in the show notes. All of our team members, all of my clients, they all have peak performance tracking, which is metrics and habits aligned with your goals and dreams. We can jump on a free call and set that up for you. But at the end of peak performance tracking, I don't want to just track metrics and habits, just to track metrics and habits. I think that that's silly. I want to track metrics and habits and then do an experience review. So at the end of, and this is in the Dreamliner as well, so I'll just read it. But in the Dreamliner, there's something called an MIW and an MII. Most important win and a most important improvement. So what's the most important win from yesterday and what's the most important thing I'm going to improve for tomorrow? Imagine 365 days a year. You reflect on the day before bed and you say, okay, what was my biggest win for today? And what am I going to improve for tomorrow? What was my biggest win for today? And what am I going to improve tomorrow? And if you did that consistently over time, because a lot of people say wisdom comes with age, sometimes wisdom does not come with age because you're not investing the learning. You're not locking it in. So when I was with my client earlier, I drew on Zoom a map and I put her in the center. And you know who you are if you're listening, by the way. And I drew some stick figure people around her.
Always, as you do.
This is you, of course.
Yep.
Of course. This is you, stick figure. And this is other stick figures around you. And this is a map. And the map represents your mental map of the world. The people around you represent the people you've met and other people. Way to go, Alan. Yeah, other people, the people you've met in all the different countries. And then you, the stick figure, represents you. I want 3, my God, my coaching calls sound so fun. I want 3 new distinctions, new understandings of yourself based on the 13 countries. Because you just traveled for 6 months to 13 countries. You better come back with some software upgrades. This is a software engineer, by the way. So she knew the deal. I said, let's reprogram you to have this version of you be better. 3.8. Version of you 3.8 is going to be better than 3.7 based on all this experience. Some of us are just getting all these experiences, but we're not upgrading our software. Imagine an iPhone that doesn't update. Imagine a Tesla that doesn't update. Imagine Alexa that doesn't update. Imagine you use Google Home, it doesn't update. It's not going to get any better. Windows 11 updates every other day. Mac updates. Why? Because there's deeper understanding. That's how you innovate. So anyways, 3 distinctions of self, 3 distinctions about people, and 3 distinctions about the world. And we spent the entire hour doing this. And there was a couple really good ones. I actually can share some anonymously. But one thing I have for you, Kev, you went to Scotland for 13 days?
I think so. 12 days, 13 days.
I always ask this question. I asked this to my client earlier too. What's the one thing I would never understand unless I actually spent time in Scotland?
It's a much slower life. Like things close at like 6 o'clock. It's slow living. Not a lot of
people would
hustle.
not like me there.
No, people would not like you there. And I've been on afterwards. I went on a couple podcasts that were hosted by people that lived or grew up in Scotland, and they said, and again, this is not, I don't have any context for this, but they said that there isn't really any like dream chasing. Like it doesn't. Nobody really wants to chase dreams. Because I think for so long they were just focused on survival. So it just, that's like a privilege that they just don't practice.
I had a Canadian not long ago say, Alan, one thing I love about America, and there's a lot I don't, understandable, pros and cons of everything, right? Of
course.
She said, you guys and girls are unbelievably goal oriented. Like you guys have dreams. And I'm sitting there going, I don't feel like we do. I feel like most people don't. And again, of course, I tend to be on the very high end of this. Obviously, this is a podcast about achieving goals. Emilia and I were on a walk earlier today, and we live in a very, very, very nice condo complex that we're the youngest. Emilia and I have done very well for ourselves, particularly her. We both have. And we are able to afford something that most people our age just simply can't. And I'm very grateful for that. And it's a really, really, really nice high-end condo complex. And so we got stopped on the side of the road by this lady. She pulled up. She said, "Oh my God, do you guys live here?" And we were like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Are your parents around?" No, we live here. She's like, "Oh, how old are you?" Because she's like in her 60s. It's kind of a retirement home, basically, but really, really high-end, really, really nice. And we're the youngest people here, except for people with kids. Because usually you can't afford a place like this until you're way older. This is actually a place where I think the median age is like 50 plus. Anyways, what's my point of all this? It's very slow living here. And Emilia and I are go, 24/7, 365. And we had an old man earlier today. He's literally, I kid you not, Kev, he gets in his car to go get the mail and then drives around the little complex and drives home. That was like his event for the day. And first of all, with all the love, I know you're old, it's all good, but you'd probably benefit from walking. He seemed like he could walk fine, but again, it is what it is. And maybe he's hurting, I don't know. But he wanted to stop and have a whole conversation. And Emilia and I have to get to our first call by 11 on the dot. And we have to get our shit together. Like, we're not here to talk. And so he's like, "Oh, your dog is so cute." And we had this whole, and it's like, "Listen, I love you, sir. Appreciate you. Like, I got to fucking go, right? What are we doing here?" So we just avoided him the whole rest of the time. But what's my point of all that? In Scotland, the slow living thing, sometimes I feel like I'm in that living here.
Because of where you live, yeah. I mean, it's definitely slower. Well, I don't know. I guess that's different. I didn't realize that I didn't realize the median age was 50. But I guess it makes sense. I don't know if that's a European thing. I don't know. I've been to England, and then I've been to Scotland.
Well, you went to London. That's fast-paced.
I went to London, but then we went to some like northern beach town that was in the middle of nowhere. And we went, like, we would go to the bar at night, and it was just like a towny bar, and people just loved it. I had a blast. It was so much fun. People were so fun. But yeah, that's the vibe I got, and that's what I've heard is it's a much slower. I mean, places close at like 6 o'clock. It's like weird.
This person was telling me that in Amsterdam, you can wake up at 5 a.m. You could wake up at midnight, and there'd be kids riding their bikes. She said it's 24/7 there.
Amsterdam is a wild place.
I don't know. I've never been.
I've never been either.
She said it's 24/7. There's always people on the streets, no matter when you wake up. Anyways, we're talking a lot about different parts of the world, which I think is good. It's good. But the world map thing.
Yes.
And this is something we talked about in the Relationship Talks event last night. Emilia, she pulled up a slide and said the 3 most important decisions you're ever going to make. Our events sound really fun. Number 1 is your environment, where you choose to live. You thought I was going to forget, didn't you?
No, I was thinking in my mind, that was 1. I think I have 2. Maybe 3. I think I have 2 out of 3, but
hammer 'em.
Where you live,
Nice.
who you marry / partner up with.
That's a gimme. It's a Relationship Talks event.
Well, again,
that's a gimme.
look, don't be mad at me that I should
okay.
get full credit. And I think the third one would be like what you do. Like what is your
your
occupation / passion?
Killed it. You crushed it.
Wow.
She said purpose. You used passion, so.
Purpose.
You
Purpose
did
is
B+.
better. Yeah, I'll take a B+. Look, that's higher than most of the grades I used to get, so I'll take it.
But it's where you live, it's who you choose to marry or be with, and it's what you choose to do for your career. I mean, if you get those 3 wrong, you are kind of screwed, honestly, because that's most of your life right there other than sleeping.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
Those are the big ones. So the point of this episode is, what's your mental map? And I have it pulled up here on my phone from the notes we had earlier. And again, I'll keep it anonymous. But she has some distinctions of the self, others in the world. And I want everyone thinking of theirs, not hers. Not just any business will do. It turns out she really cares about what she's doing in the world. I don't want a nomadic lifestyle. She thought she wanted to travel all over. And now that she has traveled all over, she realizes she really wants to build community. And then there are certain things that she was born with that are not necessarily normal in the rest of the world. Those are 3 about the self. There's 3 about others and 3 about the world and the world. And what I would ask everyone to contemplate here for a second is, when we're kids, and I try to make this land, when we're kids, we just don't know anything. You don't know the globe. You don't know the difference between salt water and fresh water. You don't know what fish are. You don't know anything. I'm just picking stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to an ocean vibe.
Shit. Yeah, well, when I was a kid, we did a lot of deep sea fishing and lake fishing. But you just don't know anything.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you don't have a mental map of the world. You don't understand, and that's why I love numbers so much. There's 5.65 billion people on the internet. There's 8 billion in the world. People are still saying 7. It's been 8 for a long time, and it's been round up to 8 for a long time. But the point is, and this is one thing that I notice when I coach people, it's your mental map is off. When you and I first met, when we first reconnected 8 years ago, 10 years ago, but whatever. We started this podcast 8 years ago. You and I didn't know the podcast space. We didn't have a mental map. We didn't understand. We thought, oh, this guest will do it. And we didn't understand anything. So to your point on the last episode, you said, I know more than you with Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson. Don't call him Rob Swanson. It's Ron Swanson.
From Parks and Rec. What's it from?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I know more than you. Everyone out there watching or listening has a more accurate mental map than me in something. What I try to do is I try to have the most accurate mental map. I had a client ask me, why do you care so much about anomalies? Why do you need to know everything? I said, because she thinks she's 5'2", I don't think she is. And she's like, why does that matter? I said, because my mental map, that means I'm wrong. I need to know where I'm wrong so I can update my mental map. Because imagine your brain is a simulation machine, like a video game, and if you have the wrong mental map, you're basically making decisions that are very bad for you. If you think alcohol is not bad for you, and it's actually terrible for you, you might drink a lot. I remember someone told me when we were really young, like, this is really bad for you guys. You guys are like 15 years old. You shouldn't be binge drinking. And I remember thinking, what do you mean?
Shout out to that person.
Turns out they were very accurate.
Yeah.
And I was inaccurate. And I don't think I cared enough to look it up. But that's a bad decision. The definition of a bad decision is something that if you're going to make a bad decision, don't make it out of ignorance. Make it out of, I know this is a bad decision, I'm going to do it anyway. And honestly, back to the last episode, High Road, I think most people make terrible choices because their mental map is skewed.
Well, it's really hard to do better if you don't know better. I don't mean that as like an excuse to get out of jail free card, but if you don't know better, it's really hard to do better. And you can only due to the degree you know. What has been an experience, like what's the experience that gave you the most perspective? If you could again, impossible question to answer maybe, but like what is one experience that the depth of perspective it created for you was?
The car accident, for sure.
Okay, other than that one.
Oh, damn. College.
I figured that was.
It's not what you learn in class. I mean, that's part of it. It's just the amount of people you meet. I met people from all over the world, every country. It was my master's in business in particular. It was, that makes sense, especially in business. If you don't know how business works, you kind of don't know how the world works because the whole world is business, especially in a capitalistic society. I was asking her, this client, did you notice a difference in government, socialism versus democracy versus capitalism? And I don't think a lot of people even know how the U.S. government is set up. I don't think they know how most governments are set up. I know all the different governments. I know the different types. I know all the different branches.
I forgot after high school. Judicial. I know we have some.
Legislative, judicial.
I know we have a couple
executive.
Different. Yeah.
But if you don't know that, you kind of you can't make an informed choice in a way. It's really unfortunate how. And again, we're less ignorant than we've ever been because of Google and ChatGPT. And I mean, even just Google Earth 30 years ago didn't exist. Now you can, instead of having a map, people used to go around and explore and map out where the mountains were and map out where the rivers were. I mean, maps were wrong. Imagine you and I hiking across the country with an inaccurate map. We would be screwed.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, shit. Turns out that's a mountain. Uh-oh. Hope you brought your hiking boots. So I think that's why we don't achieve our dreams and our goals, Kev, is because, I don't know why I keep calling you Kev, is because we have a really bad mental map of ourself, others, in the world, and so we can't make effective choices. And I would ask you the same question is, I feel like you've become exponentially more aware. In the last 8 years, you just know 1,000 times more than you did. Is that fair?
I don't know. That's always hard. Anytime we get like more than 100 times, it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like
10 times. Can we say that?
Yeah, for sure. Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there.
Okay. Your chances of success just leapfrogged really high because now you just won't make dumb choices.
Less dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Less dumb. I still make dumb choices, just less.
What's it like to feel like you've got a lot figured out knowing you also don't have it all figured out?
Lonely. Yeah, lonely. Because I feel like my awareness far exceeds my results. And I know you know that. You probably feel super seen in that. But that. I see stuff all the time. It's like that's not real. What I know, what you're seeing, it's like, oh, this is this, and you do this, and blah, 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 and this is how you have a successful relationship. It's like, that's not real. That's not actually how it works. Mm-hmm. I saw somebody share today, they shared something on Facebook, like, if you want to make an extra $10,000 a month, all you have to do is sell 50 products at $200 a month, 5 products at $2,000 a month, and they just change the zeros. And that's the dumbest shit ever. Do you know how freaking hard it is to sell a $500 product?
Oh,
so hard. Oh, you only need to do that 20 times? Awesome. Cool. You have to have 500 conversations for that to happen. Good fucking luck. That.
Nice.
What
would old Kevin have thought of that? I love these conversations. Your mental map was wrong. You would have believed that shit. And then you would have been screwed because of it. That's why I'm so glad we do this.
Yeah. Well, that's the issue is people are jeffing your mental maps because it benefits them. That's why. Going back to the selling your soul thing, like this is the opposite side of that of it's our job to get as crystal clear as we can on what's real and what isn't. Because if you're under delusion, unfortunately, you're probably going to be in trouble. I would have fallen for it, probably. I remember I had a buddy. There was a multi-level marketing thing called Melaleuca. I believe that was the name of it. And he's like, dude, all you have to do is buy like $90 worth of shit a month, and essentially your thing is free. And then anybody who buys under you, like you'll get money from it. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. You think I'm going to pitch this to people I care about? I'm not going to do that. So I signed up for it for like a couple months, like just to get the stuff. And then I remember I was like, dude, this is dumb. There's no way. No, I'm not going to do this. Like, you're making like $100 a month. You think I'm going to go all in on this? And no, this is dumb. I'm not going to do this. So it was just a weird thing for me.
One thing I do, again, I don't want this to be an MLM bashing session. One thing I do love about MLM, the one thing, say one thing I love about them, they love personal development.
They're into
personal
growth.
Growth is such a thing.
Yeah, they're into growth.
I had in my college days, there was an Amway get together that I went to, and the personal growth side of it was good.
I just remember thinking like
not so good.
So I can see that you have like your bedroom is filled with this product. Okay. You're making like $143 a month. And you want me to do the same shit.
Better than you do it?
Yeah. And then I have to have these same conversations with people. No. I'm out. Let me get the deodorant. They had like pretty good protein bars. Like, let me get the soap. Hell yeah. I'm in on that. And then eventually I was like, what happened to that? He's like, oh, dude, it was terrible. I just stopped doing it. It's like, oh. So that would have been me. That would have been. But I think that's a mental map thing is, again, it's very easy to be deluded into stuff like that. So
unless you're really well educated.
Well, yes.
It's really hard to hoodwink Kevin now. I'll use you as an example just because I don't want to use me, but it's very hard for you to sell something to Kevin that's not real. I said this to my therapist recently. I said, I think the relationship I have with someone is completely predicated on how not full of shit they are.
It's fair, but the downside of that is I tend to say no first. Somebody asked me recently, are you a part of any masterminds? I was like, nope. Why? I'm like, well, there's a mastermind that I feel like it's like, how much does it cost? How much is it? How much does it cost a month? What's the buy-in? They're like, oh, it's like $400. I was like, nope. No. we're in a like kind of a financial phase. We're trying to really focus on saving money and putting it towards things. So you can't say that though, because people are like, well, yeah, but you got to be around other men, like you got to let it unleash it. It's like, no, I'm good. Appreciate it.
I have a mastermind with my business partner.
Yeah,
when we're supposed to be recording.
I don't want to pay $400 to be around people. I'd pay $400 not to be around people. This is it. And my wife and our amazing team and the amazing community. It's like, I got everything I need. I'm not lonely.
Mastermind all the time.
I know.
That's the thing. Masterminds are very important if you don't build your whole life around it. Yeah. I would pay money to
cautious
be on the wall of that. Like if I could be on a fly on the wall.
Well, this is somebody I care. This is not like this wasn't a random person. This was somebody who genuinely cares about my success. So it was weighted a little bit differently, but come on.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. It's like, no, I'm good. No, thank you.
We need to make this as clear as possible. I need to. Kevin might not. I actually think masterminds are really important. Kevin and I's whole world. First of all, make sure it's the right one with the right people and make sure they're not full of it.
Yeah.
And number two, make sure it's a reasonable price. Kevin and I's whole life is built on masterminding and brainstorming. I mean, I have book club, we have meetups, we have group coaching, we have each other, we coach. It is, and that's one thing that's been really hard. And I don't want to make this about us, but I kind of do in this moment. Dude, when you go out into the world, Emilia and I went to Walmart last weekend. you and I's whole world is built around how do we get better? How do we get better? How do we get smarter? What don't we understand yet? What else can we contemplate? What other books? What books are you reading? Hey, what books are you reading? Book club, monthly meetups, trainings, coaching, podcasting, constant conversations with people, personal development, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. My whole world is built around that. When I go to Walmart with Emilia, and this is from a compassionate place, this is not trying to be toxic. It is very clear. Oh, you guys are not doing that at all.
Well, you just got to look at the stats.
Shout out to Brandon on the team. He said something to me recently. He said, brother, if you worked at my company, you'd be running it within a year or two. I was like, what do you mean? He said, you just learn things so fast. And when I'm in Walmart, I'm thinking about the whole company. I'm thinking about why they price things the way they do, why the checkout stations are where they are, how they've improved their tech. The Wi-Fi is unbelievable. What that costs, how much people are stealing versus paying for stuff, where like Walmart apparently has more stolen from it than other companies make revenue, period.
I just saw that Target is getting rid of their self-service because there's too much theft. I don't know if it's across the board.
That's surprising.
But I was in my mind thinking,
Walmart considers that an automatic loss. It is what it is. I mean, they have but every business has theft. A lot of people don't know that. Like Walmart has, I read this one somewhere. I follow some Instagram accounts. One of them is called Visual Capitalism, and they show these stats. So Walmart was it grossed the most revenue in 2024, $538 billion in a single year. And the amount of people that stole from Walmart, that revenue number is more than basically the top 1,000 companies. Basically, if you're in the top 1,000 biggest companies on the planet, Walmart has more stolen from them than your entire revenue. And again, don't quote me on the exact stats of that because I obviously butchered it. But the point is a lot of these things, back to mental map, if you don't know how Walmart works, and you don't know how Panera works, and you don't know how computers work, and you don't know how the internet works, and you don't know how StreamYard works, and you don't know how to use a mouse, and you don't know how to use a Mac, and you don't know how to use an iPhone, and you don't know how to use AirPods, and you don't know how to do weight training at the gym, and you don't know how relationships work, and you don't know courage, humility, vulnerability. If you don't know these things, you're in so much trouble. And that's why I am so proud of the work we do in the world, Kev, because every episode that we do at Next Level University might as well be, hey, update your fucking mental map so that you can build a bigger, better, brighter future and reach your potential. Because if you don't, you're not going to reach your potential. You don't even know what's possible. Kevin 8 years ago didn't know what was possible, dude.
Well, and that's the perspective. I think that's the big piece of perspective is I think oftentimes perspective is just possibility. It's like you go see something you've never seen before. It's like, holy, you and I were talking about this. We talked about this on an episode recently. We have a client who has a very big house, like a very big home, an elevator. It's beautiful. It's on 40 acres or whatever. Going there changed my life forever. Nice. I've never seen that in real life before.
And you know what it costs. It's not actually that much.
That's fair.
Dude, that was a reasonable, it's a multi-million-dollar home, so everything's relative, but it's not as much as I thought.
Same. I
mean, holy shit, right? It depends where you live.
Yeah.
And the winters are brutal for sure.
Whatever.
This place is in Maine. Well, dude, you can actually afford a place like that one day.
For sure.
But I think know that because you've been there and also crunched the numbers.
That's the piece. I think the experience of it, I think there's a difference. There's the experience of it and then there's the intelligence of it for me. The experience, I'm telling you, we talked about this in it was in Next Level Live. The reason I drive a BMW is not because I manifested a BMW. It's because I rented one first and I was like, ooh, I like this. That was it. And that was because I rented a Mercedes for Taryn's birthday. We went to the drive-in. It was awesome. I was like, oh, this is something. I went to go give a speech on podcasting and I said to Alan, I need to have a nice car. I don't know how to explain it. Just trust me. He's like, whatever, man. Don't fucking lose all the money. I rented a BMW. Now that's in my consciousness and it exists. And it's not as far out of reach as I thought it was. Okay, now I have a BMW. If I rented a different car, I would have gotten a different car most likely. But I think that's the experience part of it too for perspective. If you've experienced something for the first time, it might seem possible for you for the first time. And that also adjusts your mental map. That's a big piece of it for me, at least.
I feel like this is the best part about coaching. I know we got to jump here in a second. My favorite part about coaching is how much I get to update my mental map. My understanding of myself, others in the world, updates on every call. I have one person who owns 7 properties, about to be 8. I have another person who is about to gross $3 million in their 3 companies, 3 different industries. I have another person in, California doing this. One person from New Zealand who's been in business for 12 years. I learn how the whole world works by getting behind this. And I'm not talking fluffy on the front-facing podcasts. I'm talking in, feet on the street, hands in the dirt. Dude, the actual numbers of it.
Butts in the seats.
Feet on the street, butts in the seats, hands in the dirt.
Nice.
That is my favorite part about coaching, is you just go, oh, it's way different in Australia. I have one in Australia, one in New Zealand. I coached someone in Italy for a long time. I was just on with someone in Vietnam earlier. I get to learn everything about all these places so that now I go, oh, okay, so I don't want to live there. I might want to live here. I know already the home prices in New Zealand, and maybe one day we want to have a home there. There's ways to here's the thing, it's not a possibility. You use the video game analogy, and then I'll get off the soapbox. Kev said this, he said, it's like being in a video game where the level ends and you just are up against an invisible wall. I feel like every time I get on a coaching call, every time we're done with a podcast, every time I podcasted with someone in Iceland. Dude, Iceland has no people. There's like very few people. Maybe it was Greenland. I forget which one. I genuinely forget which one. I think it was like 437,000 people in the entire country. What? There's 14 million in Massachusetts alone, where I live. That's one little tiny state. There's only 42 million in all of Canada. Canada's huge.
It is massive.
And there's 110 million in the little Philippines. So it's very important to understand these stats so that you can make choices. And so the very last thing I'll say is, if you're a little kid and you're born naked, scared, and ignorant like we all are, you go out in the world and then you realize, oh, okay, I'm up against this invisible wall. Let me learn. Oh, look at this possibility. Oh, this possibility. Oh, this possibility. There was a time in the past when I said, hey, I want to have a house like that one day. And you thought that was arrogant. Now, knowing me the way you know me, and I'm not planning on having it tomorrow. Now I can reverse engineer that. I understand real estate. I understand what it's going to cost. I understand the mortgage. I understand the insurance. I understand the taxes. I understand how to reverse engineer the monthly payment and how to make that much money. Now it's obvious to you how I could do that. I'm actually not gonna now.
No, but you're not.
It won't be there.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I have a place in Cali. But at the end of the day, when you know how to do it, it's no longer magical. It's just something that's now a possibility, and then now you have to grind to get it.
I was on a podcast today with somebody who bought and sold web domains. And I was like, is that just like buying and selling real estate? He's like, essentially. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's there's like 20 different things you can do. I was mind blown. I was like, that's so cool. That's super cool. If I didn't know how, and again, I'm not super versed in real estate, so don't put me in that bucket. But if I didn't understand generally how real estate works, I wouldn't understand how that works. I would have no context. One of the worst things you can do is try to give context to a story by telling another story that somebody doesn't understand. That's like speaker 101, because you don't understand that their mental map can't see that yet, right? So that's a piece of it. All right.
I do that all the time.
You do that so often.
Whoa.
So often. But you're working on it.
That landed in a new way for me.
Look at us go.
I got to go to their mental map.
Got to go to their mental map.
And fill in the gaps. I'm trying to jump them to my mental map. Whoa.
The Walmart thing, it's like, it doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, if you think about it, if 60% of the population is, let's say, overweight, and 60% of the population is struggling with money, you're going to see 60% of the population there, most likely. And 60% of that population is probably going to be like that.
Yeah, 100%.
That's right. So, I mean, I don't think I'm ever surprised when I go see a large
You have
group
a more
of people.
accurate mental map when it comes to that, I think. I also
think I have a more accurate mental map when it comes to how much the work has really helped me. Like when it comes to fitness, I think I'm above average. I'm not surprised when somebody isn't. it's that. It's the contrast between how much I'm growing and maybe somebody else isn't growing. It's not just them or me. It's the contrast between the two. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it does.
All right. Next Level Nation, if you're looking for some perspective, one of the best ways to get perspective, in my opinion, is to journal. Because you can see where you were at this point last month. You can say, look, I was struggling. I'm doing way better. Or I was doing way better, and now I'm kind of struggling. Let me kick my ass in gear. We have the Next Level Dreamliner. We'll have it on Amazon. It literally takes like 5 minutes a day. It is on Amazon. We'll have it in the show notes. It takes like 5 minutes a day. It will help you get to the next level. And we do not talk about stuff that we don't believe in, and we believe in the Dreamliner.
We do a monthly meetup every single month. Go figure.
Nice.
And the next one for June is on,
drum roll please,
the top 5 things I've learned from 10,000 hours of coaching, training, and podcasting. I have a 10,000 hour tracker of coaching, training, and podcasting, and I've learned a ton, and that's the point of the episode we just did, the mental map. Let me share the top 5 things with you that I've learned from 10,000 hours. Now, quick announcement. Kevin and I used to do these together. Kevin has not been fired.
I've not been fired.
He's not been fired. We have realized that we are strapped for time, and there's only 2 of us, and we have a lot to accomplish now that it's Next Level University, Podcast Growth University, and I just launched Business Growth University. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. Basically, I'm going to be running monthly meetups solo. If you want to learn about success and personal development and achievement and the 5 things that I learned from 10,000 hours of podcasting, coaching, and training, come join me. Kevin will no longer be there because eventually he will have his own for only podcasters.
Podcast Growth Meetup monthlies. Yeah.
Yes.
Soon.
The link will be in the show notes to register.
Yes. Join. And I hope you enjoy. And I hope it's valuable. And if it's
Thank
not,
you, Kevin,
please reach out to me and tell me. Let me know what's going on in there, okay? You're safe. We'll get you on the inside, and you can let me know. No, please attend. That's a lot of hours. You learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about yourself, and I'm sure the lessons will be super valuable. So make sure you attend. All right. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.